Yo, what's good? It's your man 100 Grand Russ with The Rock Never Stops. And today, it's overdue that I get into this Memphis Grizzlies team in their first round matchup with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I say it's overdue because it's 5 games in. I didn't expect it to even go this far. I thought it was going to be like a 4-1 gentleman sweep of the Minnesota Timberwolves by the Memphis Grizzlies. I thought John Morant was going to overwhelm them. I thought they were going to out execute them. And I thought that this would be easy work. But the reality that I'm seeing is that Minnesota is exposing some things in this Memphis Grizzlies team. And they're also exposing some things in their coach as well. And I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you like this video, smash that like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And we could talk about it more on Twitter at Rock Never Stops too. You know, something that a coach once told me a long time ago was that it's important as a young team that you play fast, but don't rush. Play fast, but don't rush. This is the mindset because on the team that I was on, um, our offensive scheme was to actually push the ball hard and fast. We were young, we were athletic, and so our coach constantly was on us to push the ball, push the ball, push the ball. But then he would always add in, but don't rush. Don't rush. Don't allow the speed of the game to speed you up mentally. Be aware of where you're at on the court, what you're needing to do, and how you can most effectively do it. And this is where Memphis is getting exposed, is that they're in a huge rush. They are in a huge rush. They're not executing. They're not showing me the strategic adjustment to seeing what Minnesota is throwing at them. From the very beginning, you have Patrick Beverley jump into John Morant's jockstrap, meaning he gets into him physically to intimidate from the very beginning. And this was a smart move. It should have been expected. But what I haven't seen is the game plan in order to make this adjustment so that John Morant can get freed up. I haven't seen the team make the adjustment within their game plan to be able to exploit the immediate trapping that Minnesota goes to every single time they try to run a pick and roll. What I haven't seen is them being able to move the ball, maintain spacing, and be able to ensure that they get a quality shot each time down the court. What I've seen is them try even harder to get out in transition, to try even harder to push the pace, to try even harder and harder and harder and harder. And right now, this actually plays into the Minnesota Timberwolves' hands because the one thing that they can match Memphis with is the athleticism and the effort to play hard. That's the one thing they can match them with. That's the one thing. One of the initial moves that I was really curious about was pulling Steven Adams out of the starting lineup. And why is that? Well, it's very simple. I don't know if you guys have any Ben-Hur fans. I grew up watching Ben-Hur. It's one of those movies that it's timeless. The original Ben-Hur, not the new one. But something that they talked about in that movie was they had these. It was like this horse race, this huge horse race in the Roman Colosseum, and the person Ben-Hur, he's going to be driving these horses. And the trainer, he comes to him and he says, you know what? It's going to be important to have your fastest stallion on the outside. This is the one that's going to pull everybody forward. This is the one that's going to get us around the corners. They're going to really drive us to go faster and faster. And then you're going to have the one next to him is going to have speed, but it's going to have really good balance between the rest. And then the next one is going to be really balanced, but it'd be a little bit slower. And then your slowest one is kind of your anchor. The anchor is the one that helps you to maneuver the best. The anchor is the one that helps you to strategically go in between the other chariots. And this is what Steven Adams does for the Memphis Grizzlies. He anchors them. He slows things down for them. He allows them to execute, to make the right play in the right moment. Not only is he one hell of a screen setter, meaning that he has probably the optimal ability to free Ja Morant up off of Patrick Beverley so that he can get free and get into the paint. But he's also somebody who's an excellent playmaker and passer from the top of the key. He's somebody that you can run offense through. You can pass him the ball. You can run some backdoor screens, some actions trying to get shooters free like Desmond Bane, moving Ja Morant off the ball. You can do this with Steven Adams at the top of the key. But taking him out of the starting lineup has removed a huge part of the playmaking in their offensive set. And so as a result, what we're seeing guys do is try to take it upon themselves more and more to create offense one-on-one. We're starting to see guys like Dillon Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., even Desmond Bane try to play make off the dribble. And that's not playing into their strengths. It's not to say that it is not a strength, but it's not the strength for them. It does not put them in the best position to execute offensively. And so more and more, when I'm watching this game, and I even rewatched game 5 just so I can make sure that I have my notes correct. But when I see guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. get into early foul trouble, and they have to bring in Brandon Clark, or they have Xavier Tillman in there, and I like both those guys. But neither of those guys has ever anchored a defense in the playoffs. Neither of those guys understands what different offensive schemes teams are going to try to run in order to get easy baskets, especially around the rim, right? And this is where the experience level of their coach comes in. This is where you have to develop schemes in order to keep Steven Adams out there. You have the athleticism to cover for him so that he doesn't get stuck on an island playing one-on-one with an offensive player at the three-point line. And even though he's not great at it, he's still solid enough to leave out there to where it's not going to destroy you throughout the game. But losing him in terms of being able to anchor your defense, especially when Jaren Jackson Jr. is getting into foul trouble, is really backfiring on the Memphis Grizzlies. Now I can appreciate that Desmond Bane has been able to find his stroke, and Tyus Jones has been invaluable in his ability to settle them down and help them to execute. Kyle Anderson is another veteran who's done that at a high level for them. Allowed them to settle down their offense, even on defense. Even though he's not the most quick-footed, he's extremely intelligent in how he moves. So he operates with a lot of efficiency. Yes, he's going to get beat off the dribble by Anthony Edwards. Everybody's going to get beat off the dribble by Anthony Edwards. But he also knows how to not commit a dumb foul, right? Like Jaren Jackson consistently is doing, right? It's not to say that he's dumb. It's to say that he's only 22. He came into the NBA, I believe, at like 17 or 18 years old. He's extremely young, and he still plays young at times. And this is where Taylor Jenkins is going to have to make some adjustments. He's going to have to play his veterans more with these young guys to get them to settle down. I don't want Zaire Williamson out there with a bunch of other young guys. I want to see him out there when he's at his best with DeAnthony Melton and Tyus Jones and maybe a Xavier Tillman, right? This is when he's at his best, right? I want to see DeAnthony Melton out there more in the backcourt. Maybe Taylor Jenkins can try to go small some more. Maybe start Tyus Jones or bring him off the bench quickly and then bring in DeAnthony Melton as well, right? Put some more pressure on the D'Angelo Russell backcourt and even Patrick Beverley. If you can get DeAnthony Melton headed downhill, potentially if he can pick up a foul on Patrick Beverley before Ja Morant is in the game, right? That takes a lot of pressure off of Morant, right? That slows down Patrick Beverley a bit. And this is where scheming comes in. I was a big proponent of the Memphis Grizzlies retaining J.B. Bickerstaff, and we've seen the job that he did in Cleveland, even despite missing the playoffs with all those injuries. He did an incredible job this year and should be a Coach of the Year candidate. He probably won't get it because they didn't make the playoffs, but still. This is where experience comes in. This team has the talent. They have the skill, but now they have to put it together. And right now, the Memphis Grizzlies are learning some invaluable lessons. In the playoffs, you're not going to be able to win by just outworking and playing harder than the other team. Yeah, Brandon Clark bailed you guys out a lot in this game. Being able to pick up loose balls, get the dump offs, be able to tap the ball out for second chance shots, because he's so athletic, right? And he has good timing. He's in the right place at the right time, right? But you're not always going to be able to rely upon that, because if Karl Anthony Towns just does the simple thing of boxing out before he looks for the rebound, he nullifies that, right? If Minnesota begins to get a body on Brandon Clark, now all of a sudden you don't get all those second chance shots. They are going to have to figure out how to play smarter and not harder. They're going to have to figure out how to maintain their spacing on the court. I don't want Desmond Bane driving to the rim with Kyle Anderson and Brandon Clark already under the rim, right? I don't want Jaren Jackson Jr. trying to split defenders, doing a two-step to get to the rim, right? This is not playing to their strengths. I want to see plays drawn up. I want to see plays called to get guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. a nice post up, or even catch the ball at the mid post around the free throw line so he can turn and face up, one dribble, spin, and he's at the rim, right? This is what I need to start seeing, because when they get to the second round, when they have to see the Golden State Warriors, that is a team who is going to outsmart you play after play after play after play. And then when they have that explosive scoring moment, when Jordan Poole and Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson all get cooking at the same time, and Andrew Wiggins is banging on your head, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what just happened? Went from a 2-point game to a 20-point game. You're going to have to know how to execute. So I want to know what you all think. Do you think the Memphis Grizzlies can figure it out at time? Do you think they're going to be able to get past the Minnesota Timberwolves to the second round, to the Golden State Warriors? Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please smash that like button for me. It helps with the algorithm. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.